Good morning, everyone. It's Friday morning, and we are here at the Keto and IF. We are doing our live show this morning, yes. And we have Karen is here. And by the way, anything that we say is not meant to diagnose you. This is just information for you and your doctor to do research so you can come up with your own conclusions. All right, good. That being said, we're going to get started. All right, Karen. So first thing we want to talk about is the summit. How do you think it went? Was it okay, you think, or what?
It was a little on the surreal side. You know, I'm watching some feedback from like Logan and the Keto Connect guys, and it is funny that, you know, we sit here all the time, we talk to a camera.
Yeah, we're sitting in a room looking at a camera, can't quite see you.
Right. We're missing that. And to go to this summit and meet all these amazing people. I mean,
were they cool or what?
Yeah, Mega was saying it was like a love fest. It really was. The exhibitors, the speakers, the attendees were so awesome.
Very, very appreciative, very nice people. The stories.
Happy people.
Gut-wrenching just stories about the success. Mm-hmm. I'm just literally blown away.
Yeah. That was the most overwhelming, I think, touching, but kind of overwhelming part about it. It was great in terms of content, and everything went just as well as could be expected, but the people were amazing.
And what was really crazy is that we decided to adopt them, and then we got a bus.
Take them in the bus.
And we got them in the bus. We took them home.
The
house is filled with people right now. It's just great.
About
I don't know how we're going to feed them all.
They're cool, though.
Yeah. I think they're handy around the house, too.
Yeah.
Cleaning. Yeah. Well, we're going to do intermittent fasting, so we don't feed them very often. So, okay, guys. So we're going to go right to Megan. She's been waiting for 39 minutes, and she has a question from Chicago. Hey, Megan.
Hi, Dr. Berg and Karen. Thank you for taking my call.
Hi.
Absolutely.
So this is what's going on with me. I'm 38 years old, and I do keto and intermittent fasting. At the moment, I'm eating about once a day, sometimes twice a day, but I only get hungry about once a day, and I've been doing that for about a year and a half, give or take. I take a lot of your supplements, the nutritional yeast, the trace minerals, the powder, the electrolyte powder. Anyway, I recently was diagnosed with a bundle branch block in my heart, and I had really high blood pressure. Now, I was adopted, so I don't know my whole health history, but I do know that on and off since I was 20, doctors have been catching high blood pressure in me. I never went on medication because I wanted to correct it on my own, and I had some success with it, but it's not very consistent in a normal range. I had an EKG, and that's how they found it. My doctor did say it's not severe, but to keep an eye on it. I did have a chest x-ray, and everything is normal. My lungs are clear. My heart is in with normal range. My doctor did put me on lisinopril recently, so I took it. It is coming down. That is happening or helping. But my question to you is, I don't want to be on this medication forever. And I was wondering if there's anything else I can do to correct this, and if a block in my heart is correctable like a clogged artery is.
Well, here's what I would do, Megan. I would definitely go in the area of supporting something called the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system. There's this nerve system that's called the parasympathetic nervous system that comes from the brainstem, comes down to the heart, it forms the pacemaker, and that's what you want to fortify. And that's just a matter of building up over time the electrolytes, specifically potassium and magnesium. Comes from a lot of leafy greens, the electrolyte powder, and so that would be one thing that I would do over a longer period of time, because it might take some time. But that's what I would do if I were you. And then the other thing that I would do is I would start increasing the amount of vitamin B1. That's also important. But I would take benfotiamine as well, because it's a fat soluble. It's really good for any type of peripheral neuropathies or any type of nerve problems. And this is an electrical problem. So I would add benfotiamine. I would take it with your meal, because you want a little bit of fat in there. And I would probably take, if you want to put the icing on the cake, no, don't put that icing on the cake. I would take something called purified bile salts if you want to speed up the results a little bit more. So those are the things I would focus on. And let's see how far you can improve this. I think there's a lot more results to be attained. And then doing the keto and IF over a period of time improves insulin resistance. Your absorption will be that much better. So you're on the right track. All right. Ruth, is that Ruth? How are you, Ruth, from Texas?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful.
Great.
I had a wonderful time at the conference. You and Karen were wonderful hosts. That was just such a fabulous time. I can't wait for your next conference.
Yeah, I came back to the office and I told the staff, well, everyone loved it, so we're going to do another one in 6 weeks. And they just, they gave me a pouty face.
Pouty face.
So
it was exhausting, but it was great. It was great.
And it was really nice to meet you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So glad you made it out.
Yeah.
I just wanted to call and thank you guys for the wonderful time that I had. I'm still working on my adrenals.
Yes.
I've managed to sleep till 4:30 in the morning now instead of getting up at 12 and 2. So there's progress.
Yeah.
That's good
Definite
news.
progress.
That's
and
great.
I'm doing the fasting, so I am at 48 hours now. So I'm going to try and make it to 72 on the next one.
That's awesome.
Good.
I hope to see many more videos on the adrenals and menopause and those kind of topics, because I have a feeling that there's a lot of people interested in menopause and how we can support our bodies through the menopause process. So
you mean the menopause?
looking forward to
the menopause?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Delete.
Don't make it all about men. It's about women.
That's right. That's right.
What was that joke that I used to say? Menopause, you also have something with man. There's a whole bunch of words. I can't remember. Anyway.
We forgot those.
Yes. Well, I'm going to, today, after this, I'm going to create some videos on menopause. A lot of
wonderful.
them, actually. So, yeah. So I have a really good one that I've been working on for a while. So I've decided just to knock it out. So.
See, what I do is I put him in an environment every day, a different one, so he can experience the symptoms
hot
of
flashes,
menopause.
for example. She puts me in the
right.
in this
so
hot room and
I
I'm like
just
sweating.
don't let him sleep for 7 days, so he feels exhausted,
Right.
and then
I can do
another day
videos.
I make him carry like balloons around his belly, so he feels the puffiness.
I appreciate that, Karen.
Puffiness.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and the hot
Good
flashes.
job, Karen.
Yeah, I know. Somebody's got to do it.
Good job. Appreciate that. Well, I just wanted to thank both of you guys. I had a wonderful time, and I can hardly wait for the next seminar.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming
Thanks
out.
for calling and coming out. All right, have a
It's
good
my
one.
pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
You
You're
too.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's see. What do we have on social media, Karen?
Okay, well, lots is pouring in. I'll just give you this first question here. What about apple cider vinegar and breastfeeding?
Together?
Yeah.
Mixing breast milk with apple cider vinegar?
No.
Oh.
Breastfeeding and taking apple cider vinegar while you're breastfeeding.
Ah, okay. Well, that's actually a good idea.
Okay.
It's not a bad idea. It's not going to conflict at all. It'll actually help your digestion. And the thing with the breastfeeding, though, is if you can get some either nutritional yeast or brewer's yeast, both of those would enhance the breast milk. You can actually make some lactation cookies. What? What do you want me to look at? The camera? Which one?
It's okay. It's a training process. Go
Okay.
ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, the lactation cookies, since our daughter-in-law
Daughter. We just think of her as a daughter.
I know.
But
is
she's married to
basically
our
gonna has a bun in the oven, so should be releasing that bun in the oven any day now. And so Karen is gonna make some
Is
lactation
that
cookies, right?
old-fashioned? Is that inappropriate? Bun in the oven?
It's appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no problem with apple cider vinegar and breastfeeding. The only thing is just want to probably not do any extended, long-term, prolonged fasting.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's a question about nasal polyps and if keto or IF can help that.
Well, definitely, absolutely, and especially the intermittent fasting, because for polyps, boils, tumors, intermittent fasting, hands down, just does a great job with that. The other thing is that realize these tumors can't live on ketones. So we want to get the person in ketones, and a polyp, and it's kind of a growth. You want to do that. But vitamin A is important as well. So that's why you don't want to go on a low-fat diet. And it helps the mucous membranes as well. But I would do intermittent fasting. I think you would see the best benefit from that, and just avoid dairy. That seems to aggravate it.
Wow. Oh, I want to make another comment about the keto attendees.
Yeah.
The Keto Mojo people, they have this tester for insulin and glucose, right? And they
Found
said
something very interesting.
Yeah, they said they've never experienced this before, but 90% of the people they tested at the summit, 90% of the attendees were in ketosis.
That's because we didn't feed them.
No.
No,
But that is impressive.
No, because
They're
educated people. They're highly educated.
Also, the U.S. Wellness Meets guys said that they've been to tons, I won't name them, but tons of different conventions and summits and things, and that they had never experienced such an educated group of attendees in all of their career, which is pretty hot.
It's pretty awesome that they're educated.
Education is important.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I'm just still overwhelmed. It's just like amazing group of people. It's like,
just awesome
like really cool people you just want to hang out with, every single one of them.
And everybody doing it, like everybody that was there
they're into it.
was actually putting every tool to use, you know. I mean, there were a few beginners, but for the most part.
A ton of people coaching and helping others.
Yeah, tons
so there's a ton of
coaching with
coaches.
clients.
These people really like to help people. They had this thing they had to help people. So it was awesome, guys.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so I need to go to Vince. He's been waiting. California. Hey, Vince, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Dr. Berg and Karen.
Good
Hey,
morning.
hi.
Good morning. Hi, thank you so much for all you guys do. I actually talked to you earlier in the year. I started my keto intermittent fasting journey back in February, and very thankful and praise God, I lost about 70 pounds so far.
Wow.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that's amazing. They're telling me to do the bell.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I was at 305 pounds. I'm weighing like 235 right now.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, last time I was out this weight, I think I was a teenager. Now I'm 48. So anyways, to my question to you is, so I've been taking blood pressure medicine since 2012, lisinopril and atenolol. Of course, the goal is, doctor, to get off of that at some point, and I want to do that calcification test as well. I remember seeing your video where your score was 0, which was amazing, but are you going to, a little gray area, I think, which would help maybe a lot of people and myself, is if you could post a video or some type of chart where once you take that calcification test, how do you know when you could start weaning off of it? Because our, primary doctor may say, well, I want to keep you on it, maybe lower the dosage. What's your take on that? Or
Yeah. Okay, so good question. You're talking about weaning off the medication, right?
Correct, sir.
Yeah. Well, this is a tricky area because I'm not a medical doctor. I am a chiropractor, and I don't do chiropractic anymore. I kind of focus on nutrition education, so I can't tell anyone to come off the medication. So what I do is basically give you ideas to research so you can test different things out, experiment with things, work with your doctor, so then they can wean you off the medication because they're the experts with medication, and we're focusing on food therapy. So, but here's the thing. It's kind of one of those things that you want to juggle. You start building up your reserve with your potassium and your nutrients, and as the blood pressure comes down, you're going to notice that your blood pressure medication comes. You're still taking that. In the presence of having a normal body where you have no more insulin resistance, your pressure will come down. So you're going to end up having a low blood pressure. So of course you don't want to take high blood pressure medication if you have low blood pressure. So I would just basically play it by ear. Check your blood sugar every single day. If it becomes lower, have your doctor wean you off gradually to the point where hopefully you may not even need it again. That's what I would do. The thing about beta blockers, diuretics, the side effect is that it actually worsens insulin resistance, and sometimes it can keep the problem there longer. Same thing with statins. So here you are taking this medication to think you're improving things when in fact you're contributing to the main cause of the problem, which is high levels of insulin. So, and last thing, I would just study everything you can about insulin, so you really understand that, because that's behind a lot of these problems. Okay, thanks, Vince. Karen, you're on the line. You're from Virginia Beach.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Thank you for speaking with me today. Yes, I am a 60-year-old female, and I've been on keto since August of 2016. I started at 232, but now I've only got down to between 180 and 182.
Wow, that's
I'd
not
like
bad.
to lose more.
Okay.
So I lost like about 50 pounds in those 2 years. But I would like to go a lot farther.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the last 2 winter seasons, I've been having this big issue. Waking up, it started, like I said, in the winter of 2016, same time I started keto. So I don't know if there's a connection or not. Dry mouth and dry eyes. And a lot of times I'll wake up in the middle of the night now, and I presume it's to go rehydrate, because that's the first thing I do is rehydrate. Well, actually the second thing I do is rehydrate. And so, I've been having some bad dreams, and I think it's all connected because of my fears of what the heck's going on here. I know I mouth breathe. I know I don't snore, because I ask people.
Mm-hmm.
I mouth breathe, and I actually, and this is going to sound crazy probably, had manufactured an ace bandage to go around my head to keep my jaw shut so I don't breathe through my mouth at night, and that helped very little. So I don't know if it's my age, my time of life, my diet. I have no idea.
Okay. Do you get any dry on your lips or cracks in the corner of your mouth?
My lips are dry, yes, and for a brief few days I had tiny little cracks, but I looked that up, and that was a vitamin B deficiency of sometimes, and so I took some of that, but it was just like 2 or 3 days, and that helped with that immensely. So the cracks, yes, but I still get dry lips.
Okay. All right. So you ready for this? Are you sitting down? Do you have a pen and paper?
Oh boy, do I ever.
Okay. So what happens during the winter months is that your vitamin D drops. So what happens, because you're not in the sun as much, so what will happen, the microbes, the flora in your gut need vitamin D to make the B vitamins that are necessary to prevent mild symptoms of things like pellagra, which you don't have, but just cracking in the lips, making the whole thing dried out, and even the sinuses dried out. So all you have to do is increase your vitamin D, possibly take a probiotic, but probably not. It's going to be probably vitamin D in higher amounts through the entire winter, and you probably won't have any more problems. Also realize that some of the dryness in the eyes and the mouth could also be not necessarily an electrolyte problem, but a fat-soluble vitamin problem, especially vitamin A. So cod liver oil is a good one, because when you don't have vitamin A, you tend to lose the oils, which then will dry things out. So it's not always just like a electrolyte to hydrate you more with water. It's more of a fat-soluble nutrient. So I would do eat more egg yolks. I would do eat more fat. And then on a rare occasion, you might need to add some purified bile salts to really pull in those fats. But that's really what's happening. Maybe you want to add some nutritional yeast with that to get the B vitamins on top of everything else. But I think the main thing, you just need to add vitamin D. Okay? And for anyone watching, come winter, you probably need to also take vitamin D too, just because you're not going to get as much sun. Thanks, Karen. All right, Karen, what do we have?
Okay, good.
The other Karen.
The other Karen. Good. So I know this isn't a treatment, but for supporting people who have a condition of PCOS, what would you say about keto and IF?
Wow. You know, I didn't record this, but at the summit, people were just going on and on about the results with PCOS and fertility.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So you need to do intermittent fasting, and keto. Do you know why, Karen?
Tell me.
Do you know what causes PCOS?
No.
Do you know what it stands for? Okay.
Polycystic ovarian cysts.
Polycystic ovarian syndrome
syndrome.
or disorder, either one, depending on what you want to call it.
Right. But that wouldn't be S.
Right.
Right.
D.
D.
Okay. So do you know that's a high level of androgen? Do you know what that does to a female body?
Makes it more manly.
Mm-hmm. You get a little beard going on and a deep voice. Not good. So what causes the spike in androgen is high levels of insulin, because insulin spikes the androgen.
So keto and IF is the only solution.
It's the perfect thing to do. Now, you also can do things like cruciferous and stuff to help balance your estrogen. That also helps. But here's the interesting thing, Karen, and this is interesting because when you spike your insulin, testosterone goes up in females, but it goes down in men.
Say that again.
So when you have high levels of insulin in females,
Yeah.
your androgens, your testosterone goes up. In men, it goes down.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting, Karen. So what's the moral of the story? You just handle your
Keto
insulin
IF.
and
Just
you'll
handle your
basically
insulin.
balance it out.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So what about supporting or improving symptoms of fibromyalgia?
You know, some of the people say I have fibromyalgia, but they really don't. Especially if it's on the right side of fibromyalgia. I did a video on this. It's gallbladder. So you have to work on the gallbladder. In fact, if you just press underneath your right rib cage and then reassess how bad your fibromyalgia is, and it probably is going to go away like that. So that's because the pain's referred. But the other thing too is if you actually have fibromyalgia for real, you just need vitamin B1. That's all you need, and watch what happens, because that's one of the symptoms.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
B1. I
B1.
talked a little bit about that at the summit.
Right.
Yep. All right. So Cassandra, you're from Richmond, Virginia. You had a question. Go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Bird and Karen. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Sure.
I'm 36 years old. I've been practicing keto and IF since June of this year. I'm down about 27 pounds, and I'm losing the inches. So I know that it's working for me. I took your quiz in your book, and it showed that I was an adrenal body type. Thyroid coming in a very close second, like a point or two difference. Then I took your quiz online, and it said that I was a pancreas body type. So, and I also have other symptoms like edema in my legs. I have ridges in my nails. That seems to be a symptom of thyroid issues. So my question is, what should I be focusing on as far as my body type?
Right. A little confusing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what, and this will be in the next version of the book, but there's a fifth body type. It's the pancreatic body type. Well, why did I bring up the pancreatic body type? Because the amount of people that have high levels of insulin is just off the charts. So I added some additional questions just to screen it out. But here's the thing. What should you do differently if you're on have a pancreatic body type? You just need to do the basic thing that's in the book that you have, do the basic plan longer. Now, as far as to tweak it, you can do things like chromium, take more potassium, things like that. But I will tell you this, when you improve the pancreatic function, your adrenals get better, like that, the thyroid gets better, boom, the liver gets better. So I have found that, the secret is getting to the root cause. It could be adrenal, but chances are it's probably, on most people, it's going to be the pancreas. So if you do it, and let's say you're like 80% better, then you can switch gears and go to the adrenal. But that's what I would focus on. I would focus on the basics of the book, do it longer, tweak it, and with what I'm recommending, I would focus on just that right now, not get too wrapped up in the other body types right now. Thanks, Cassandra. I need to go to Tarita.
Forgive him.
From San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, fine. Good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
All right. I have a little testimony, then I have a question after this
Okay.
testimony.
Okay.
I found you about 3 weeks ago accidentally, and I hurt my back, and they did a scan, and first thing they said was I had a fatty liver, which scared the heck out of me. I said, oh, my God. So while my back being injured, at home doing nothing, being depressed and sad because I couldn't work, I accidentally stumbled on you, Dr. Berg.
Wow.
And I was on 16 different medicines: Fenofibrate, Crestor, Trulicity, Metformin, Farxiga, Trigentel, Norvasc, Metoprolol, Eliquis, Vitamin A, D3, B12 shot, CoQ10, biotin, fish oil, turmeric with ginger. So I was on all these medicines for the last 2 years, okay?
Wow.
So I saw your video, and I listened to you. I've watched probably 2,000 of your videos. And then one of your videos said to me, get up. You said, Tarita, get up right now. Don't wait till January 1st. Don't wait till October 1st. Don't wait till Monday. This was a Friday night at 11 p.m. I got up, went online, found a store that sold organic food that was still open. I drove 20 miles and got organic everything. Everything in my house is organic. I threw everything away in my cabinets, everything away in my refrigerator, and I started crying, of course, and thank God, and I threw everything away.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. Something has got to change. I've been taking these drugs that's costing me over $2,000 a month, and I said, I'm tired. So I said, okay. So I did it. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel anything indifferent. But guess what?
What?
Yesterday, first time in my life of history, my blood sugar was 90 yesterday before dinner.
What?
Wow.
It was 90. I threw all my drugs away. When I started this intermittent fasting with the ketosis, I threw everything away.
Wow.
I threw them in the trash. I threw my shots. I threw the vitamin B12. I threw everything in the trash. I said, you know what, Tarita? I'm not going out like this. I'm not.
Wow.
So for a blood sugar of 90, my highest blood pressure in the last week was 121 over 75. My highest heart rate's been 95. And that's like, what in the heck is going on here? I started jumping like I won the lottery. My husband's in Africa. He said, what's going on? My blood sugar was 90 before me eating dinner. He said, huh? He don't understand, of course, but I was like jumping around the house. I was like, no way, no way. So, say all that. I've lost 10 pounds in 2.5 weeks.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Now, the only thing that I'm still a little confused about is that blood sugar is still slightly higher. It's like 125, 130 in the morning when I get up. And I try my best to get at least 7 hours. At least 7 hours of sleep. And I saw your video on the Dawn syndrome and all that. I do apple cider vinegar in the morning and at night. And it's still high when I get up. So it's like,
what to do?
What's going on with me?
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for calling, and it's so I'm so glad you got off the poison. I'm sorry, medications. But what happens is that you had a fatty liver, right? That means that you're going to have something called insulin resistance until the fatty liver is completely back to where it doesn't have any more fat in there at all. Choline would be a real good thing to take. You probably already started that, just to start speeding things up. But your insulin resistance will improve to the degree that your fatty liver gets better and better and better. So all you're up against right now is time, and you just need to give it more time. It's been 2 weeks. You experienced miraculous things. It's going to take probably some months to get you fully back to where you should. So I think with your state in the morning, I think it's a matter of the reason why the blood sugars are high is it's more of a liver rebound type thing going on. So I would just keep doing what you're doing. It's working. Ride the wave. And I think it's going to improve over time. So thanks for your success, and I can't wait to hear some updates in the future. Awesome. Is that incredible?
That's incredible. That's incredible.
The first talk that I gave at the summit was about the key thing, which is the theme, the essence of the entire summit, which is high insulin. That's really, guys, what you need to look at. If you wanted to learn the most important thing about health is to really understand insulin and to bring it down to a normal level. That's really the most important thing.
Regardless of your symptoms.
Yeah, because you get to the core of so many problems. And I showed people the relationship and the connection, but it's that root problem. All right, so what do we have?
I was so engrossed in that phone
I
call
know.
that I wasn't
Well,
looking a lot.
you-
But someone is asking here, do you have an app?
Do
Do a
I
shout
have
out.
an app?
Do a shout
Do
out
I
for
have
that.
an app?
So
Well, check this out, guys.
you can have Dr. Berg with you 24/7.
So I just released this upgraded app. It's the Dr. Berg app. Here we go, right there, so you can see. So just go ahead and search Dr. Berg app, and you can pull it up. It's free, download. And I'll have the videos. I have a mini course in there. I have audio version. I have new content. I have PDF resources, all these cool documents. And if you wouldn't mind giving me a really good review, no, an unbiased review, I would appreciate that. But definitely give me a review because
It helps.
that's the exchange. I'll give you the information, you give me a review, and then actually it'll ping you every time I release a new video. So that way you could, watch more videos.
Cool.
Yes.
How about a question?
Okay, give me a question, Karen. Give me an
Okay.
easy one this time.
Okay. So this is a twofer here. Someone has trouble digesting meat. Another guy's got reflux. Sort of in the same category.
It's the same remedy. It's you need to increase your hydrochloric acid. So two things I recommend for that is betaine hydrochloride. It's a natural thing to help increase the acid in your stomach, or apple cider vinegar. So there's a combination that you can take. It's called Digest Plus. You can look it up on my website. But basically it has powdered apple cider vinegar and betaine hydrochloride together. You take it before the meal. We actually need some more of that because we ran out. But that's a real popular one just because, sometimes people, I know it's hard to believe, overeat. They just start eating too many nuts and they just all of a sudden realize, wow, what did I just do? And they need some more help. But if you can't digest meat, we know you're low on stomach acid. So you take like 4 of these before a meal, boom, handle it. It's good.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, here's someone who's got nasal polyps and wants some advice.
Didn't we just cover that, polyps?
It was PCOS and fibromyalgia. Did I do
Oh,
polyps too?
You did polyps before.
Oh, it's a double polyp question.
That's right, Karen.
Okay.
So,
I'll cross it off.
So, yeah, you just basically do intermittent fasting. That's the most important thing for polyps. Boils. Since you brought up the polyps, we'll bring up the boils.
Okay.
We won't bring up the corns, just the boils. In practice, I had these people come in with boils, and I didn't know what it was back then. But I did know there's always a correlation between boils and blood sugar. These people were either a pre-diabetic or diabetic. I was like, what is the connection? Now I know, coming full circle, it's high insulin. That's what it is. I mean, you say, well, I don't have high insulin because my blood sugars, I only have high blood sugar. Well, have you ever tested your high insulin? They'll always say no. They've never tested it. Well, test it. You'll find out it's probably high because when you have type 2 diabetes, your body makes more insulin to compensate for the insulin resistance. Now, of course, type 1, you're going to have low insulin, but just by taking it so much, you're going to end up having high insulin for the sake of regulating blood sugars. There's just as many, if not more, side effects from high insulin than there is high blood sugar. So the goal with the type 1 diabetic is to decrease the need for insulin as much as possible, so you eat less carbs and do intermittent fasting. It's the same diet as type 2. Different problem.
Now, let me ask you a question. Here's a quiz for you.
Yes.
Okay? Can you think of one ailment, common ailment, that does not involve high insulin issue?
Sure. Yeah, there is. There's infections, all sorts of infections you have. You have viruses that can cause all sorts of illness, bacterial infection.
But does insulin or being insulin resistant
set you up for it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then that's not an answer to the
It
question.
does. Okay. All right.
Okay, think of another one.
All right.
Breaking a bone.
Okay. How about this one?
Okay.
Being exposed to DES, which is dithylstilbestrol. It's a chemical in the 50s. Or what about some GMO food that causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma with cancer?
But GMO food causes high insulin.
Yes, but it's not the insulin that's causing it. It's the GMO food that's causing
Okay.
it. I mean, there's you have a lot of different other causes, but I will say this, Karen, since you brought this point up, I would venture to say that most all chronic problems that require constant medications,
Like metabolic
I'm not talking
problems.
about breaking your bones. I'm talking about like involve the metabolism and the. I mean, it's people will say, well, it sounds too simplistic. Well, I want to tell you something. Usually, things that are complex, is you just don't understand that there's some underlying simplicity that you missed. So things can be simple, and I would say that if everyone handled the high levels of insulin, I would tell you for certain that the healthcare cost would come down at least by 5%. I'm being very sarcastic. It'd come way down, save a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what's really weird? I mean, here we are spending, how much is our health insurance? What, $2,000-$3,000 a month?
Over 3,000.
Insane. Health insurance, right? So we pay for this health insurance.
Doesn't cover anything.
And we don't really use it. We're not going to use medication. But of course, the drug companies, they do very little research. They spend very little money on their research. They basically do some, but it's a little bit biased. But they fund a lot of the university research, okay? And also, the government partners with the big pharma to do research too. So basically, you guys pay for research for the drug companies, and then the farmers sometimes get subsidized with sugar, beet, corn, soy. So we basically, again, pay for their crops that then they produce these products that you end up buying back. And a lot of times, like wheat and sugar raises your insulin, so then it causes these health problems. So you end up paying for everything. So anyway, we need to go to Basha from Florida.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh, you're like my idol. I love your philosophy on medicine, and I take your cruciferous vegetable supplements. I'm all about it.
Awesome.
So thank you for that.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm such a big fan. So I have kind of a compounding issue here. I was just diagnosed with lipedema. It's like a chronic inflammation of fat tissue on the legs. Lucky me. I'm 26. I've been an athlete my whole life. I do martial arts, and I've been a vegetarian for 10 years. I've never lost a pound in my entire life. I've had eating disorders when I was younger. Never lost a pound in my entire life. I don't know. I refuse to believe there's nothing I can do, supplements or diet, to change my condition, although they say diet and exercise have no effect on lipedema, meaning making it better. So aside from the sports and being vegetarian, I've been to so many doctors for like the past 4 years trying to figure out what on earth is wrong with me, because I don't feel healthy. And the cardiologist said nothing. I had like palpitations. It was not from anything, whatever. I was at a endocrine doctor, and she basically misdiagnosed me with polycystic ovarian syndrome. I don't have that. The only thing I have is hirsutism. But what's very interesting is I don't have hirsutism from hormones. I don't know what it's from. Maybe it has something to do with my acne. I have very low-grade mild acne that's pretty much went away when I was 18, but never truly went away. It's like kind of just rashy bumps. And so what I realized after going to an immunologist was I have allergies. So I have an IgE level of 1,800. I know it's supposed to be between 30 and 50, more or less, but I'm at 1,800. Just diagnosed with lipedema finally. And she said it might have something to do with my allergies and acne, something in the body trying to like get out, this kind of allergic, irritated reaction.
How many meals do you have a day?
3, maybe 4. I can't go like 4 hours without eating because I'll just get really shaky. But my blood sugar was so normal. I'm nowhere near diabetic. The only thing clinically wrong with me is I have an IgE level very high. I have almost no vitamin D and absolutely zero ferritin when I exercise.
Okay.
So
give me an example. Give me an example on an average meal. What do you eat?
So for example, I'll make like salmon and kale. I absolutely love kale, like you. Or maybe I'll blend a smoothie with like just all vegetables, kale, like parsley, all that good stuff, ginger, lemon. Let's see, maybe something with beans or other kind of salad stuff. I really primarily eat vegetables and fish and a little bit of fruit. Not
Okay.
that much fruit because I actually don't really prefer the high sweetness.
Okay. So let me give you a couple tips, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anytime you have inflammatory anything, okay, so that's involving, there's some insulin resistance problems there. The fact that you can't go long without needing food tells me there's an insulin resistance problem. And that's a real hard problem to detect unless you do the right testing. Like there's a test called HOMA-IR. You can do that to determine that. But just from what you're saying, I think it could be insulin resistance, in which case that it's very difficult to do this being a vegan. But you can still do it. The point is that you have to give up the fruit and replace the fruit with more fat at the meal. You can do coconut oil, you can do avocados, whatever. Maybe some nut butters if you can do that. But you need more fat to go longer. You need less meals. You need to go to 2 meals and eventually to 1 meal. What's going to happen is your inflammation is going to drop. Your set point, your stuck weight, it's a plateaued, is controlled exclusively by insulin. So we have to drop that to help you lose weight. And this is why you probably haven't lost weight in the past, because you've been dieting so much and that kind of slows the metabolism. So that's what I would do if I were you, is I would try to focus on your eventual goal, intermittent fasting, but with your short-term goals of cleaning up any type of hidden sugars, fruits and stuff, get that out of the diet, add more fat. Okay? Do that, and I think that should help her. Okay, good. Hey, Lexi, you're from San Francisco. You had a question. Go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Berg. I just wanted to know, I started intermittent fasting about 3 weeks ago, and since then, every night I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm up for a couple hours. I can't sleep. And I try everything to, go back to sleep, but nothing helps.
How many cups of vegetables do you consume a day?
I consume, I would say about 4.
4, okay.
4 cups of leafy super green.
Good. And then how much protein do you eat in a given day? How many ounces do you think?
I probably about, I would say about 6 ounces.
Okay. Okay. So here's a couple things that you can do. One is that go up on your greens. You can do just regular lettuce, but that you need more potassium. Potassium is a physiological relaxer, a tranquilizer. It relaxes the nervous system. It's good for sleep. The days that I don't consume enough greens, or I'll just, if I don't have electrolytes and things like that, then I'm like, my sleep isn't that great. So it's really the potassium that helps the sleep. In addition to that, there is a sleep aid that you can try as well if you want. I have one, but the main thing, that's not for sleep, it's for chilling out the adrenals, because I don't know what's going on with your adrenals. That could be another factor. I have a lot of videos on sleep, but that's the thing that just popped in my head when you said that. Add more greens and then see what happens. Thanks, Lexi. All right, Karen.
Okay.
You have some questions?
I do. Now, someone here wants to know the difference between a glycemic index and the glycemic load.
Good question. Glycemic index is how fast a carbohydrate breaks down and is absorbed in the blood and spikes the sugar. Mm-hmm. Okay, so like a jelly bean would be fast, celery would be slow. Glycemic load is the amount of carbohydrate. So let me explain that. So let's say you had a carrot that has a certain, carrots are a carbohydrate, right? It's going to be a little higher in the glycemic, but it's not that high. But because it's so filled with fiber, and there's little amounts of carbohydrate, the glycemic load is going to be low. You want it below 10. So in other words, berries have a low glycemic load. Potato especially if you cook it, has a high glycemic load because it's so concentrated carbohydrate compared to the fiber. Apple has a higher glycemic load because it has less fiber than a carrot or celery. So it's just another variable to look at when identifying different carbohydrates and how they affect your blood sugar.
Now, are these labeled somewhere?
Now,
or?
you have to, there's calculations you can look up online.
But both should be low.
Yes, both you want low. And the rating score, I think it's like below 55 on the glycemic index is low, below 10 on the glycemic load. But it's an important thing to look at, and people ignore it. So, yeah, popcorn, believe it or not, potato chips, rice, all that is going to turn into sugar pretty quick. So you want to avoid that.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Another question here about healing after surgery. There's one question about a knee replacement, but other surgery, other breaks and things like that.
Well, the absolute best thing to speed up healing would be intermittent fasting. Just go longer and you will heal so much faster when you do intermittent fasting. There's something that happens quite magical when you do fasting. Your body goes into this repair mode. Oh, you're looking over there. Repair mode where you're basically,
I'm not,
your body starts healing at a very, very fast rate.
we're not.
And
Oh, we've got it. Okay.
so what you want to do, Karen,
I'm on
is,
now. You got me.
yeah, you fast, you actually regrow brain cells. And who couldn't, mind an extra brain cell here and there? You have the regrowing of bone, you have the spiking of growth hormone, you have the cleaning up, like a self-cleaning oven of all your cells. You have the recharging of your antioxidant network. So you start releasing more antioxidants to actually kill off pathogens. I mean,
When you stop eating.
yeah, so you would think it would be worse, but it's not. Your
Right.
body actually repairs and heals when you stop eating so much.
It's funny because I think there's two viewpoints when someone's injured or sick or something
You can
like that.
nourish
It's
the
like,
body.
feed them,
no, you don't.
and bring
No,
them
you do not.
food, and do you need some
False.
food? And
False information.
but
Just-
I think naturally the body doesn't always want food when it's sick.
No,
or
and actually
injured.
animals don't. They lose their appetite. I mean, the Romans used to use fasting for epilepsy. Of course, they thought it was demons that were, and they just demon
Well, it probably
possessed.
feels much the same.
Right.
when you have too
And-
much
And
insulin.
they just force them to stop eating. But it's probably like, that's why I always say that sugar is the devil. Right.
It's your Roman roots.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
So let's go to Patty from Nebraska. You had a question about kidney stones?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
I was diagnosed about 10 years ago with kidney stones, and my triggers were spinach and caffeinated tea. Now, I haven't had any kidney stones since then, but I have cut both out of my diet completely. But at the time I was diagnosed, I was also eating a ton of carbs and not a very healthy diet. So since I've been eating keto, I am wondering, can I introduce especially the spinach back into my diet, because I love spinach and I haven't been able to have it.
Good question. The thing with spinach is high in oxalates. If you steam it, you reduce the oxalates. If you're prone to kidney stones, you have to be careful because you could develop stones, in which case you just want to consume more citrates, like in lemon juice, each day, so you can actually eat more spinach. So citrates decrease the risk for stones. It's not a bad idea also to take a little calcium. You would think that would turn into a stone, but it doesn't, because you take it through the digestive tract, and then it goes through your digestion, and then that combines with the oxalates to prevent the stones, because the stones really develop from calcium in your blood, not your GI tract. Another really good remedy to prevent stones would be hydroxycitrate. Hydroxycitrate. I think, hands down, that's probably even better than potassium citrate for stones. So check it out, and I think you should be good to go on that. Thanks, Patty. All right, so now we're going to go to Karen. Do you have a question?
Sure. Okay, talk about nervousness or anxiety in general and during menopause.
Oh, sorry.
What?
I was acting nervous. I was acting it out.
You didn't look nervous. You looked like crazy calm all of a sudden.
Okay, nervousness and what else?
Anxiety.
Okay.
During menopause or in general, because we get questions.
Okay, so if it's happening during menopause, it's going to be...
Is it because that's caused by men?
Right. It's really the adrenal issue. But here's the secret remedy. It's really B1. B1, nutritional yeast is the best remedy for B1. I like that, unless you can find a natural version. I'm not against you taking some synthetic if you're also taking the natural at the same time, just to kind of get your numbers up. But you're going to feel instant, within probably 3 to 4 minutes, instant relief from nervous tension and anxiety. And the reason for that is that the mitochondria needs B1 as a co-helper nutrient to make it all work.
And tell again, what's the mitochondria?
Mitochondria is the energy factory of the body that does that converts your food into energy.
They're in all the little cells.
Yeah, you have like per cell, you have like 400 mitochondria. Last time I counted. But then you also have this other interesting dynamic of B1 that is needed to make neurotransmitters, specifically GABA, acetylcholine, and also and dopamine.
Okay.
And so that right there is just gonna, it's like taking a chill pill.
Okay, so neurotransmitter.
Yeah, those are like hormone-like things that travel through the nerves, but they're similar to hormones, but they don't travel through the blood, they travel through the nervous system. They're communication particles. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You just had a lot of big words in that one sentence.
Neurotransmitters.
I'm not deaf.
GABA. GABA.
Okay, good.
Don't
So
you hate that when
B1.
people, they slow it down and try to help you understand, like it's going to sink in?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay, good.
Good with that?
Yeah. Now, what about milk on keto and IF?
Don't recommend it. It's too high in carb, and it's going to be a problem. Now, you could do some good quality cheese, but yogurt is out.
And no
sorry.
milk.
No, but you
What
can
if
do
it's organic?
cream
What if
on your
it's
coffee.
raw milk?
Cream, it's still too high in carbs, Karen. You can do the whole cream, or
Like
half and
heavy
half.
whipping cream.
That would be the ideal scene.
Okay.
But make sure it's grass-fed and organic.
Okay.
Okay? I need to go to Colleen. She's been waiting. You're from Portland, Oregon. Go ahead, Colleen. You had a question.
Hi, Dr. Berg and Karen.
Hi.
I attended the summit. It was fantastic.
Oh, good.
Thanks for
Pages and
coming
pages
out.
of information, and all my friends are saying, "Are you going to give us the download?"
Right.
Anyway, I had 3 questions, but I'll be super fast because I know that there's people waiting and this time is of essence. I have a 6'1" daughter. She's 14 years old, 220 pounds. When she eats food, a little while later, it regurgitates into her mouth. And once in a while, she'll have severe pain in her chest, like so bad that, we want to take her to the ER.
Mm-hmm.
And after coming to the summit, I have a feeling that it might be her gallbladder.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know. When we give her Tums and walk her around a little bit, it handles after about 30 minutes, the pain will go away.
So with her, let's just kind of cover that right off the bat. I would highly recommend getting something called betaine hydrochloride.
No more Tums.
Okay.
The Tums will make her feel better for a minute, but then what happens, you're neutralizing the stomach, and then she's going to regurgitate, because her pH of her stomach, I would bet you anything, it's not very acidic. It's actually alkaline, and then that valve won't close if your stomach is not acid enough, so food's regurgitating back up. So what she needs is more and more acid in the stomach. So betaine hydrochloride, apple cider vinegar, but you get them in pills. Just go to the health food store and then take like 4 or 5 before she eats. She's gonna feel a little bit better, and then keep doing that each meal. And sometimes, like my guitar teacher, he found he can do 9, and he can eat anything he wants, and that was bad.
Wow.
But I don't recommend it. But you can take more and just to improve digestion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Other things. I'm on keto. I've lost 35 pounds.
Great.
I started in February.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm eating at 12 and at 6. but I have a bulletproof coffee at 7 in the morning, which is just ghee, 1 teaspoon of ghee. And I'm just terribly plateaued. I mean, I haven't changed anything. I'm pretty, 3 eggs, 4 slices of bacon, a kale shake in the morning with just with water and stevia.
Yeah.
And
you remember on
flaxseed oil, and then salad and,
Okay, so on Saturday morning when I went through the troubleshooting,
yes.
There's you want to start working towards possibly, especially if your metabolism is slow, like 1 meal a day. You want to probably nix the bulletproof coffee, since that fat is going to be used as ketones and not your own fat. That would be the first thing that I would just nix, is the bulletproof coffee.
Okay.
And then maybe slightly reduce your fat, and then start working towards shrinking the feeding window between 2 meals closer and closer. But in the troubleshooting, I gave you a handout with all the little things that I would look at. Go through that and see if there's anything that kind of pops out as like, that makes sense for you.
Okay, good. And then food allergy on dairy, does that slow down things? I have a food allergy, but I have dairy anyway because it kind of keeps the diet interesting.
Yeah.
It's more of an intolerance. It's not an allergy.
Yeah. Make sure that dairy is grass-fed. Make sure that if you're going to do cheese, it's sheep or goat, not cow. That will help.
Okay.
And then when you do intermittent fasting, over time, you should see your allergies improve. There should be less allergies over time. Yeah. So try that.
Okay.
And I think that should help you.
Thank you so much for answering those questions.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Chris, you're from Thailand. How are you? Did you have a question?
Hello, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
And Ms. Karen, thank you so much for having me on your prestigious show.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. We had some good representatives from Thailand at the summit.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. So hope to see you sometime in Thailand. Please visit us over here.
Yeah.
So I would just like to share a brief stuff about me, a brief history related to keto and how I got to know you and how I'm following it. So other people can get to understand, how it works and all the reservations and many things that they are worried of.
Good.
So
you have 1 minute.
In business.
You have 1 minute time. Can you do that in 1 minute?
Oh, so I'm sure I'll try my best to make it short. So I'm a PhD student in business management. I'm 38 years old. So I've tried many ways. I just, after I was maybe 19 or 20, I gained so much weight. I went over 200 laps, 200 pounds. So I tried many stuff, the old style, low calorie diets and stuff like that. Nothing worked. It worked for a few minutes, for some time, and then I just gave up, So the problem was always when I did my research and when I got to know you and learned from your YouTube video about intermittent fasting and ketos, when I actually applied that, so just trying to make it real short, so I always feel full, this is the best thing. I don't feel any cravings. The first 2 days, only the first 2 days were challenging. It's been just 2 weeks. It's just a small journey. So let me give the message to all the audience. They can benefit and ask you just one question. The main benefit, apart from that, I lost 4.5 kg in 2 weeks. That's tremendous. But I'm believing in how you educate us that we should not think about lose weight to get healthy, but be healthy to lose weight is the thing. So what I feel in just these 2 weeks is so interesting that I never felt all my life. I tried many things, literally. I did so much stuff before. Is that I felt so fatigued, Even in my classes, after 30 minutes, I cannot sit and do anything.
Right.
I can sit now 3, 4 hours, 5 hours work. My brain is functioning tremendously. This is an unbelievable, out of the world thing that I'm saying. Tremendous strength, tremendous focus.
Wow.
And this is amazing. People are afraid, we'll go weak and stuff like that. It's not. As long as you eat enough, like I'm doing 2 times a day with intermittent fasting. And so, this is the message to the people. Don't worry. The carbohydrates lover, they love it so much. Whoever I talk to, they are so scared to leave that,
Yeah.
And my question is that since still I'm new into this, so I have all these wrong ideas of how to follow the diet. So I'm still not so sure because I want to do it long term. How I can do make sure that I'm having 70% fat for someone, a layman like me, or someone who is used on a wrong methodology before. Can you just brief now or make a video for us so we can really know that we are not eating more protein. I'm just worried that if I not eat more protein in the long run.
Right.
And the last thing I would like to say to the people that we have benefited so much from Dr. Berg. So people should be responsible and should at least spell the word about Dr. Berg in the community. Hit a like button. It won't take a lot of time, And always we should appreciate Dr. Berg, and we should always mention it to our friends. We are benefiting so much, but people these are in every field are so lazy. We really should appreciate, and it's our duty. So it's
Chris,
really an honor and pleasure to talk to you,
so
Dr. Berg.
Chris, you're hired.
Chris, that was the longest minute, but I really appreciate it.
That was great, and I would just say watch the video.
This is why I created this book, to put all the data into one area where you can actually read it. You can get it online if you're around the world and you can't order or something like that, but this has all the data in there in this book right here, and that way you can sit down and digest it. I do have 3,500 videos, and they're not all organized in a way that you could probably go from A to B. I recommend the book, but you're right. What's really cool about this is that you're going to start feeling your brain waking up. Your energy, your mood's going to go up. And I'm telling you, this is not a suffering type experience. This is not a deprivation. You're going to feel so good. And for those of you that are new, unless you try this, you will have no idea of the benefits. And it's like freaking amazing, actually.
Freaking amazing.
Yes. So I want to thank you guys for listening in, and we're going to answer one more call, if you don't mind. Derek, you're from Queens. You're on.
Hey, Dr. Berg, how you doing? Hi,
Good.
Karen.
Hi.
Dr. Berg, your Instagram page is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Dr. Berg, I know I'm going to be very quick here. I'm dealing with my girlfriend. She has candida. She was getting a discharge, and the clumpy, like cottage cheese type of farm things going on down there. I put her on grapefruit seed extract, based on everything you've told me.
Yeah.
I put her on oil of oregano. I put her on the sea kelp. I have all your remedies, but we've kind of steered away from, sex, for the time being, but sometimes she just can't help herself. But a few days ago, she had like blood coming from there while we were, having intercourse. And it's the candida and everything going on down there. I have really, really made it much better, but it's still lingering. So okay. I really kind of need your help in what should I do next for her.
So thanks for that description. Basically what you want to do is you want her to do keto and IF hardcore, because what's happening is we want to drop the sugar and not feed the candida. There's a mineral that is really beneficial for candida, molybdenum.
We can never say that word. Molybdenum.
It's molybdenum. No, it's molybdenum. Molybdenum. I said it. Molybdenum.
I think you're saying it wrong.
No, I'm
you
saying it
should
right.
Spell it.
No, that's actually what you use for that. But it's something that I honestly, I would guarantee if you interview someone like that they're still doing a little too many carbs. They're not doing intermittent fasting long enough, because those are the things that are going to just help this clean up because of the autophagy, the self-cleaning oven.
Self-cleaning oven.
Yeah.
Okay.
Derek, thanks for the question. And guys, thank you so much. For those of you that are on my Keto and IF Lab, we're going to be going there next. So shoot on over to Facebook.
Facebook.
Yes. Have a great weekend, guys.